This student was in the bottom 1% of test takers on one of the hardest medical exams in the world, and she wasn't even a doctor. For over 10 years, she thought that she was just a bad test taker. Now, she wasn't. Instead, she was like a coiled spring, ready to be released. And 2 months later, she was in the top 3%, using the exact same materials and being the exact same person that she was before. Here's what unlocked her and what will allow you to become a dramatically better test taker in a short period of time. The first key was that she was studying at the wrong level of detail. Have you ever studied something, like really studied it, and felt like you understood it, and then you still got questions wrong on it? And then you think, I literally just studied this. What's wrong with me? This is one of the most frustrating experiences in test prep. And it's the thing that makes you start to believe that maybe you're just a bad test taker. Now, the student, Miriam, was experiencing this. She is a dentist taking a medical school exam, and she kept studying topics and feeling like she got it. And then she would still miss questions on the exact same topics that she just studied. The issue wasn't that she was a bad test taker. The issue was that she was studying at the wrong level of detail. For example, in some questions, she would understand the big picture, but then she would miss specific pieces underneath it that she needed to understand. Think of it like an SAT reading passage. You might read the passage and you understand the argument, and then you still get the question wrong. Not because you didn't understand the passage, but because maybe you didn't know what one word in the passage meant, and they were asking, what is the definition of this word? The problem isn't your reading comprehension. The problem may have been that you just had a vocabulary gap. But if you don't focus on the specific things that you are weak at, you're gonna walk away thinking, oh God, I guess I'm just bad at reading. This is what happened to Miriam. She would get a question on a medical condition called cardiac amyloidosis. Now, she would understand the big picture, she'd know what is it, and then what does it do to the body? But then the question asked something about a very specific protein that was involved in the process for that particular variant of amyloidosis. She had never heard of it. This wasn't that she didn't understand what amyloidosis was. This was a very specific gap on something that she just didn't know that she had to know. The fix for this is what I call the shopping list. When you get a question wrong, don't just look at the answer and go to the explanation and just read it mindlessly. Instead, go back through the entire question and then notice, what made me feel uncomfortable? Was there some knowledge that I didn't know? Or a concept that came up that I was like a little weak on? Were there skills that I would need to master in order to make sense of every single sentence? I coach medical students and doctors on some of the hardest board exams in the world, from the USMLEs to COMLEX to ABIM and ABA and all sorts of board certification exams. And one of the most common mistakes that I see is that people will get a question wrong on, say, like heart failure. And then they'll go and then they'll just think, oh, I just need to read a bunch of stuff on heart failure. But in reality, there's something very specific about heart failure that they didn't know. Like maybe they didn't know how to read an EKG. That is a skill. Reading a bunch of facts about heart failure and about the pathophysiology will not help if every single time you get a question on an EKG, you're gonna get it wrong. This could work in both directions. Some people study big picture stuff and then they miss the details, right? That was what was happening to Miriam, our student who went from the bottom 1% to the top 3%. Other people are super detail focused and then they miss the big picture. Both fundamentally have the same problem. They didn't audit the exact pieces that they needed or skills or gaps that they needed in order to get those questions correct, right? They didn't see the patterns and then the process that they needed in order to fix it on the back end. So now you have your shopping list of every little piece that made you uncomfortable. And now the goal is that you need to address every single one of those pieces in it. So a scary topic of like, oh my God, I just suck at reading, right? Actually becomes, okay, well, maybe I need to work on my vocabulary, or maybe I need to pay attention more carefully on reading each item carefully. Maybe I need to do a better job of paraphrasing as it is that I'm reading sentences, or when I read one sentence, I need to relate it to sort of the entire paragraph. Each of those things is either a set of knowledge or skills or habits, and each of those things, when you break it down into its individual component, is actually not that hard on its own. When Miriam started doing this, her practice question ranking went from literally bottom 1% where she started to now creeping much higher. And that was literally in just 10 days. She didn't learn more and she didn't spend more time studying. She just focused her energy on the right things that were holding her back. If you're a medical student or a doctor preparing for either the USMLEs or COMLEX or one of your medical board exams, then be sure to sign up for our free 14-step program where we'll walk you through the most efficient ways for you to improve your score in a short period of time. And if you're interested in getting there faster, be sure to book a free call with our team where we'll break down what it is that's holding you back and, if it makes sense, explain how it is that we can help you to get there more efficiently.